Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Jason from Dropshipping University, coming back at you with a brand new episode. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the differences from Shopify dropshipping to eBay dropshipping and which one really makes the most sense for you wherever you're at with your own online business. Whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, I'm going to be discussing the pros and the cons, the fee structures, the hidden fee structures on both platforms, and which one really makes sense to do if you're a beginner and you're just trying to make some sales. So with that said, guys, I'd appreciate it if you could take the time to smash that like button and hit the little subscribe button with the bell notification. That way you can be reminded every single time I put out new videos just like this. And I also want to remind you guys that down in the description, there is a link to my free wholesale dropshipping mini course. Go ahead and check that out. It's over an hour of content with free live video modules. So if this sounds good to you guys, I'm going to jump right into my computer and I'm going to show you my PowerPoint. Okay guys, so here we are inside of my computer and we're going to start off talking about Shopify dropshipping, and we're going to break down the fee structures. We're going to also talk about some of the pros and cons of Shopify. Okay, one of the most important things that I want to point out right here is the fact that when you start a new Shopify store, you are going to have zero built-in site traffic. What that means is nobody knows what your store is. They don't know anything about you, and they're not just going to stumble upon your website. You need to drive traffic, and that's going to involve paid for ads, whether it's Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads. There's so many different ways to pay for ads, but nobody is just going to find you right off the bat. You're going to have to do something called SEO, and that stands for search engine optimization. You are going to have to tailor your listings in your store to rank really well in Google's search engine results page. That is the reason that you will see when you type in, a random thing on Google, you'll see all of these listings basically search ranking on Google, and that's going to be what you're trying to get. You're going to try to get your listing as high as possible. That takes a lot of time, and that's what we talk about down here. It takes a while to rank in Google. Even when you start a new Shopify store, it can take up to 2 months for Google's indexing system to even find your web pages, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, the amount of time and maintenance that it requires to get ranked really well in Google's search engine results page. It's a very difficult task to do, and it's very, very expensive to maintain on a high level because your competitors are also trying to bid on keywords and doing things to get their listings ranked really well. So this is a very valuable form of traffic because in essence, it's free, right? You're not actually paying per click or paying per impression to get people to click on your website, but there are other costs, hidden costs of having a developer or yourself, the time that it takes to get your website to rank really well, and it's something that you really have to be patient for. But the point here is that it's a 0% built-in traffic. When you start your store, you are not going to have any of this free organic traffic whatsoever. So moving on, we're going to talk about some of these fees. A lot of people have asked me what the costs are, and these are going to be direct costs. These aren't hidden fees, these are direct costs. So your store subscription fixed fee on Shopify can range anywhere from $29 for a basic store to $299 for a more enterprise premium store, and each tier, there's 3 tiers in total. Each tier has their own benefits. Obviously, if you pay more, you're going to have more benefits. I'm not going to talk about that here. You can go directly to Shopify's pricing page to see what that entails. But one thing to know that this does not include Shopify's app fees, and that's going to be application or plugin fees. A lot of times you're going to need these auxiliary applications to help out with running your store, whether it's order processing, making your store look nicer, pop-ups, stuff like that to capture leads and then to remarket to them. That's going to cost extra money, and a lot of times that can actually accumulate to quite a bit of money too. So you have to be cognizant of what's going on with the applications, and this does not include any sort of template cost. Template is going to be the bare bones structure of your Shopify store, and granted there are free templates, but you get what you pay for. If you get a free template on Shopify, it is very limited, it's not very robust, cost, and there's a lot of limitations to what you can do from a coding and customization standpoint. So you're going to want to get a paid for template. It's a one-time cost, but generally they are in the several hundreds of dollars. And I always, say to get a template if you're going to start a Shopify store. So that's something also to consider. This is going to affect your bottom line. And if you're a beginner, this might not be something that you can really do because you don't have that type of money. So just remember these things. The third thing I want to talk about with Shopify is the 2.9% processing fees. These processing fees are kind of the standard in the industry, whether you're going to use Stripe or PayPal or Shopify payments. 2.9% is kind of the status quo these days. Plus you're going to have to pay a per item 30% transaction fee. Now, if you get a higher subscription, you're going to have less processing fees. But again, that is going to be something that you're going to have to weigh out. If you're doing enough volume, it makes sense to pay the $299 per month to get less transaction fees. But again, you have to consider the pros versus the cons in that situation. So moving on, we're going to talk now about eBay dropshipping facts, and these are going to be the costs and also the built-in site traffic. So this number is really big. You see here 773.7 million built-in site traffic visitors. Okay, that's going to be unique visitors per month on eBay, and I got this data from a company called SimilarWeb. It's a software that you guys can go on for free and check this out. This is as of March 2020, so this is very recent. And these numbers tell us a story. The story that it's telling us is that there's a lot of people shopping on eBay every single month. They're going there with credit cards in their hand, ready to buy products. Their intent is very, very specific. They're there to buy. Whereas a lot of times when you're driving traffic from Facebook or from YouTube or from Google to get somebody to buy your products on Shopify, the intent is not there. Most of the time they're scrolling through their social media feed and they stumble across something that's eye-catching or engaging, and then they click it. But the intent is not, I need a product right now. I need this specific product right now. It's a very big difference. And what's going to probably end up happening is until you get really good with ad targeting, you're going to be spending a lot of money to learn about that audience. And that money can develop large over time. It can really hurt your pockets over time. So one of the greatest benefits of selling on any marketplace, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, is that there's built-in existing site traffic, and these people have a loyalty to the eBay brand. Okay, that's really important. eBay has built up a very strong and reliable customer base over the past 20 years. It's over 20 years at this point, and a lot of people they're comfortable with the eBay platform. They put in their payment details in the past. They use coupons and extra eBay perks, and they just have that, they feel comfortable shopping on the website, and they've done a good job of curating their customers, and it's a very intentional customer. So that's very important, the difference between the eBay customer versus somebody who's just scrolling through their social media feed and comes across your ad for your Shopify store. The next thing I want to talk about is the store subscription fixed fee. It's going to be $7.95. I just rounded it up to $8 and $349.95, I believe, for the enterprise or like the premium version of a store subscription on eBay. There's multiple tiers of subscriptions on eBay, and I always tell people to at least get a basic store when starting out on eBay because it's going to lower your final value fees down to 9.15% versus 10% generally speaking. So higher subscriptions, you're going to get more benefits. You're also going to have less likely to run over your insertion fee limit. And also, I want to point out that this does not include promoted listing fees. That is going to be something that is in addition to your store subscription fee. But again, that's going to drive more sales, so it's going to offset a lot of time. The last thing I want to talk about here is the 2.9% nominal per sale fee, and that's going to be your PayPal transaction fee. And that's also going to include 30 cents per sale transaction fee. They're going to be moving over to eBay managed payments in the next year or so. They've been rolling this out steadily over time. Some people are in it, some people aren't, but that is also going to possibly change the transaction fees. I think it's actually going to be lower, so it's something to keep an eye on, but that is very much so the same as on Shopify, because both Shopify and eBay, you're going to be paying a processing fee. Some company has to go through these processing fees, and you're going to have to pay for them. So let's go ahead and directly compare eBay versus Shopify, the fees. Okay, eBay, we have a $7 $1.95 subscription fee, all the way up to $349.95 for the most expensive. I actually think they have the enterprise level on hold at the moment, so that's going to be an anchor store if you were paying per month. And I always say to pay on monthly subscription, not a yearly subscription. Even though you'll save money on a yearly subscription plan, the monthly subscription plan is much better in case anything was to happen to your account or if you stop drop shipping in the future. So on Shopify, it's going to be $29 for the most basic store, all the way up to $299 for an anchor level equivalent store. As far as final value fees, you are going to be paying 9.15% if you have a basic store or above on eBay, and that's going to be your final value fees. Granted, it does change from some categories, it gets lower, but most of the time it's going to be at 9.15%. Shopify does not have a direct final value fee, so that's something to consider. You are going to have higher fees on a final value fee basis than on Shopify, but the costs of running a store, having a developer, and stuff we're going to talk about on Shopify is probably going to end up costing you more. Not to mention, to see results from a Shopify store certainly takes a lot longer. 2.9% processing fee plus 30 cents per transaction. That is the same for Shopify. Extra third-party software costs. I always talk about programs like Zik Analytics, Spot and Paste. Those do have some extra costs that are going to factor into your bottom line on eBay if you're drop shipping and trying to do product research and semi-auto ordering. That is going to definitely affect your bottom line, but I can guarantee you that if you are selling on Shopify, the extra app costs are going to be much more. There's a lot more plugins on Shopify, and there's a lot more solutions that you're going to need on Shopify, because unfortunately, a lot of what you need is not built in already. The last point I want to make here is that extra promoted listing fees. One of the most beautiful things about eBay is that it operates its promoted listing fees on a cost per sale basis, whereas with Shopify, you're going to be needing to generate traffic from outside sources like Facebook, YouTube, and Google, and none of them have a cost per sale model. They all have cost per impression or cost per click models, where you could be spending an arm and a leg on these expenses without actually getting people to make the purchases. So with eBay, we can see the direct ROI on each one of our campaigns from a promoted listing, versus Shopify. It's much harder to measure, not to mention it can get very expensive if you don't have great targeting or great ad copy or great creative, stuff like that. And also on Shopify, something to mention is the template and developer expenses. Now moving on, let's talk about eBay. We do not need a website, okay? eBay is the website. eBay is the platform. It's the marketplace. We are just listing our items for a small nominal fee, and that's it. We list it up there and eBay brings us the traffic. That's what we're really paying for when we're paying 9.15%. That is the reason that we're paying for, because they're bringing those customers who are very intent, ready to buy the product. The other thing with eBay is that we're going to list the correct items, okay? That's really what the name of the game is with selling on any marketplace, is selling the right items. They're going to be items that are in demand, that you can compete on price, you can add value to somewhere. You're getting into this marketplace to get those sales. And if you just go in and you throw up a bunch of random items, you're probably not going to make sales, and then it probably won't be worth your time and you'll probably be losing money. You have to do it intelligently and strategically. That's why we need to look for demand of the products before we snipe it, and I talk about that often. With Shopify, we need to build a website, and if you've never built a website before, I have news for you. It's a lot of work. There's a ton that goes into building a website. It takes tons of time. If you need a developer to help out with any customizations, that's going to cost a lot of money. Developers, even if they're from Eastern Europe or a third world country, you're still going to be paying a lot of money for them because it's an in-demand job. Anybody who's a coder or developer knows this, and they're going to be required to pay a lot, especially if you go on a site like Upwork. You're going to be paying them a lot of money. So you're going to have to drive traffic to your store. As I said, to your Shopify store, there's no existing traffic coming to your store. Shopify doesn't say, oh, we just opened up a new store, everybody come shop at this random person's store. It doesn't work that way. There's very little advertising costs on eBay. We could consider the promoted listings as an advertising cost, but it is the best model out there because it's a cost per sale model versus cost per impression or cost per click, which you are going to have to do if you are using Facebook ads or any third-party ad software out there. So pay per that's what I was just talking about, pay per sale model and the pay per impression click model. So who do you guys think is the winner? Which platform do you think is the better platform to dropship on? Let me know down in the comments. Pause this video, and I'm going to announce right now my belief is eBay is the winner. eBay is the winner because the cost is not going to be as high when you adjust it for all of those factors that I just talked about. It's much easier to get up and running. And if you're a beginner, it's so much easier to get that traction, to get proof of concept, to actually generate cash flow, and to then scale and automate your store. So much easier. Now, granted, Shopify does have its pros, because if you're more intermediate to advanced and you are looking to diversify your sales channel and actually build up a brand, that's where you're going to do it, is on Shopify, but is by no means something that you can just do in a day and be making sales, the same week. On eBay, you absolutely can. On Shopify, that is very rare to do. And you have to understand there's a lot of expenses, hidden expenses, things that you probably never even considered when you started the Shopify dropshipping store, just because you heard somebody say it on the internet. They said it's such an easy thing to do. It's not. Let's be honest here. So in conclusion, guys, again, I believe eBay dropshipping is going to be the best place for you to get your feet wet, especially as a beginner. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you ask any questions down below. I always answer all of them. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. Of course, I will answer them myself. And if you found this helpful, be sure to smash that subscribe button, hit the little bell notification to be reminded every time I put out content like this. And also check out my free wholesale dropshipping mini course down below. It's over an hour of content with tons of useful information if you want to get started with your own eBay wholesale dropshipping store today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will be sure to see you in the next one. Thank you.